Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Wargame Red Dragon replay cast. And today, it is a 1 vs 1, a user-submitted replay. And on the right side, we have our red 4 player, Refleksushka. And on the left side, we have ML Alexander, and both very, very high level players. We have a Major General and a Brigadier General. And it is on straight to the point. Gonna go ahead and speed this on up to the 10x mark. Again, if you have your own cool beans, high-level replay that you want the world to see and whatnot and cast it, just go ahead and upload it to the link in the description of the video, and I will try to get to it. I have a few that I need to work on, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get around to it anytime soon, but go ahead and do that. I'll get around to it when I can. And now all the units are out, and moving towards the right side, we have some automatics. Leopard moving over to the right side, and a Panzerbill, some recon, and some additional recon inside of that carrier there as well. HKP recon flying over the mountain, and also trying to make it towards the town as soon as possible over here. Rover attacking the Mi-24 there, and takes that down, no problem. And for our red 4 player, lots of armor moving towards the town of Echo, trying to stall his opponent from getting over that bridge. Got to get there as fast as possible. Already took Hotel, and Charlie is about to be taken over by the Blue 4 as well to get that land. And the T-72 moving in fast here. The Panzerbill sees all right there. And meanwhile, the T-62, and we have an LBV with some troops in it moving towards the wood line in Foxtrot there. Meanwhile, in Echo, the absolutely critical territory of this particular map, I would say, and the Folscom Yagars holding out in the town line. 20 of them. Panzer Skites holding out as well. Launching AT-4s at the BRDMs. Meanwhile, the BTR-90s fire frags into the town, doing huge damage to these troops. And Spetsnaz crew going to be holding them off before they could get any further into Echo there. Meanwhile, Mi-2 has been set up all the way in Alpha as a recon situation there. And we have a K-52 moving around the far side of the map, so we'll see if that can do any kind of damage or not. Perhaps even hit this rover if we could see that. Lots of missiles coming at that jet, and no chance there. And now the Folscom Jaegers there, trying to hold out, just 6 of them. Meanwhile, the Spetsnaz crew moving forward here, and if these were just a normal Spetsnaz, they would do even better with those napalm, but they do get it anyway with that BTR-90 firing those frags. Used about 102 frags total in that fight there. Meanwhile, in Foxtrot, T-62 is basically the only thing holding the Blue 4 player from moving to Foxtrot. Other than the Pekotas there are 30 of them. And that K-52 is making its way all the way around, but gets taken out by some Stingers there, and is not going to make it towards that rover, which I'm sure is what he wanted to do. But he did spook that rover there, if you will, and he had to move it for a moment, and causing Bravo to be lost for just a short moment. ML Alexander right now at a +2 advantage, our Blue 4 player. And Panzerbill here, looks like it's firing away. It does spot something, perhaps through that bridge there. That is a very weird shot. T-62 in the Pekota still in the line there, and Panzerbill does spot the T-62, 2 T-62s rather, and just pegging that T-62, and it doesn't look like the T-62 can see it at all, and he splits up those 2 62s, T-62s, so that he can back them on out of there. And that Panzerbill doing work on those T-62s, and they just cannot see what's going on. The sight, the optics of the Panzerbill just far superior, and a bit superior positioning there behind that bridge, and that's a very weird position to be firing at those Panzerbills, and I guess you could see that that is attacking there. That is a very, very tight shot. Meanwhile, in Echo, the town still being held by the red 4 player on this side, unable to get to the other side, and a Blue 4 player has Echo in control with that rover. Needs to put our red 4 player needs to put a CV of his own over there in the other side of Echo, and would bring it to a 0-0 game. Meanwhile, lots of troops being moved in from Charlie over here and all the way around. And we have some Gewehr men and some Stinger missile crews. Additional troops as well. Some recon moving in that area. Ural 4320 moving on in. Let's resupply up this area here and give those Spetsnaz a little bit more ammunition and resupply that BTR too, and just to have it just for the poops. K-29 all the way out here, just ready for anything that might flank around, and some recon helicopters here and here. Really good positioning by both players to have some helicopters sitting around, although this one technically isn't a recon, so it doesn't have quite the sight range as the recon helicopters do, but it will do the job just the same. Bringing some supply of his own here to the front lines. And a pretty stale game at the moment. Neither side really wanting to push forward. In Echo here, it's very hard to push forward in Echo, as if you want to get over that bridge, good luck with that. Bridges in Wargame Red Dragon are suicide, and but you can get some amphibious vehicles and simply just move over the river line there and try and make it that way. So it's very hard to get Echo. Once you get Echo in this game, it's really hard to take it, and both sides can simply neutralize it, and then it's just so hard to really take it over without actually using artillery. You can just simply use artillery and just bomb away and destroy their CV and temporarily take over Echo, but pushing it is easier said than done. And Gewehrmen have made their way right up to the line there, in that tree line. T-62 has backed off. Looks like a couple T-62s are being brought in there as well. And meanwhile, a +1 advantage for our Blue 4 player at the moment. Talking is hard. Bringing a CV now for Foxtrot. This will even up the game and stop the point loss of our Red 4 player. Not necessarily point loss, but rather just point gaining for our Blue 4 player. And we're just going to speed this up just to 2x, just until something happens here. BTR 70 there firing away. Looks like it got one shot off. Seen something there for a moment. An attack has been called by ML Alexander, just marking the spot where he's seen that CV. Looks like that Panzerbill did spot that CV moving in there. That is most likely the unit that did anyway, as it is a recon on the edge. And we'll see what he decides to do and how he's going to get rid of that CV there to get that +1 advantage back. And we'll see what our Red 4 player can do to get his own advantage. And probably the easiest way would be taking that CV there out, as there isn't too many options in Echo really to hold a CV for this particular player on this side of the map. Really, I mean, you can only put it either in this wood line somewhere here. If you put it over here, obviously that is not going to be that bright. If you put it over here, obviously going to get spotted at some point. So basically this wood line here and this wood line here is basically the only place where you can have a CV. So you can simply artillery and just simply bombard the forest line until you get a good lucky hit. Just a matter of luck in time, in a sense, till you hit the CV over there. And really, you don't have too much room over here either, but you can move it around a little bit more for the Red 4 player. And back it up into the mountain line temporarily and pull it back. Fennec 20 mil trying to go over into Alpha and takes out the opposing chopper there, and is now going to be able to move forward. Those commandos there are vulnerable now to that Fennec. And if he pushes forward, he could get that, but looks like a KA-52 is cruising into action here, hauling ass. And it is moving max speed and takes out that Fennec there and moving around. And it is 2x, but it still was moving real quick indeed. T-62 going to hold the line here for a little while. And a MiG-23 flying around for safety. Nothing really for it to attack at the moment, though. And an attack has been called on that CV in Echo. He knows where that CV is. He also knows where the CV is in Foxtrot, and it was taken out. As you can see, this whole area here is peppered up and completely destroyed. And that is exactly what you got to do. Simply use artillery on this map, as this map just provides all these choke points that you really can't get units through very easily. Again, you can smoke along through here, just blast some smoke right along through here, and that allows your units to actually get up into that forest line. That is one way to do it. Or simply do it the safe way and just bombard the area. So he does know where this CV is, and sooner or later he will be bombarding that with something or another. MiG-23 launches at the recon helicopter, takes that out. No more recon over there for our Blue 4 player. Rover fires and misses. That MiG will get away this time around. T-62 and BRDM moving along here now, and perhaps just putting this BRDM on the edge. And it is amphibious, so he can put it in this line here somewhere. Perhaps they're just putting it on the forest line so you can see anything moving along through there. Always a good idea. T-62 is in a vulnerable spot here, really open, and should be able to be spotted here by either that Panzerbilt or the Falcons there. And should be able to see that and maybe take that out at some point. And I'm surprised this UAZ hasn't gotten pelted yet by any kind of artillery or some kind of bombardment one way or another. We will see what happens sooner or later here. Still a 0-0 game, 100 points for ML Alexander, and just 11 points for our Red 4 player at the moment. And we have some Kustjägers moving along through the wood line here and trying to do some secret action. And these guys here are going to take a long time to get anywhere, but however, we have some dropped off over here, and that CV is vulnerable. There really isn't too much defending it. We have a Shilka here, but they should be able to take that out. They should be able to get the surprise in the wood line, considering it can't see too far in the woods. So we'll see how that turns out. F5 moving across the map. And an SK has taken out that CV, I believe. I don't see that CV anymore. And a new CV has been called towards towards Echo there, my bad. And now bringing that in. But still does not have a +1 advantage yet. It's still 0-0, taking that out. And that Kustjäger group is getting pretty close now. And they're moving right at that CV. Actually, they're moving pretty much right at the CV. On their angle right now, they'd probably be about right here, but that is pretty close. Mi-24 flying overhead as well, so that's going to be kind of hard to deal with. As soon as that spots them, we use those cluster rockets and just pepper them up pretty bad. And that Shilka pretty much has no chance. They can pretty much get right up on that and buck 20 mil that with a 25 AP power anti-tank missile, which is definitely going to bust that Shilka up instantaneously, as it has 1 armor. It simply just isn't going to be able to hold up. And we have some additional ones over here, as I said earlier, but they still got quite the ways to go. They took out that Shilka now, but that did give away their position, so he should know. And he's bringing that Mi-24 right along there as well. Now using that machine gun to try and take out this Mi-24. And Mi-24's ammo box was hit. Very surprising indeed. Took out half of all of its ammo. As you can see now, 40 out of 80, 2 out of 4 for those Cyclos missiles. So drop the ammo down pretty quickly there. Still pretty much a stalemate going on here. T-62 firing away, and it looks like a ton of troops is being brought up. He's maybe just going for it here, but I would like to see some smoke before he does that, as that's always just a good way to reduce quite a bit of damage and allow you to get into places. But I suppose with overwhelming forces, you could do the same, but those T-62s are having a field day with that. HKP firing away on that Mi-24. This Mi-24 is just taking so much havoc. It looks like he just brought this one in. Another Shilka there as well. And now if they just move just close to that CV, now back at the action here. And this is where it is all at right now. That T-62 was taken out. And Panzerskite's launching and takes that out. And VDV all the way back here, just under heavy attack there by those STRFs. And now the Pagoda, really the only thing holding Foxtrot. And CV is all the way over here, so they won't be getting to that anytime soon. And here comes those Kustjägers, and moving forward. And these ones are very close, but I don't think they're going to last much longer. Just 5 in that squad. Back at Foxtrot, a huge cluster bomb takes the numbers down quite significantly here. Hits almost all of the squads. However, I don't think that's just going to be enough. And now trying to make it into the town of those VDV. And there goes my phone, unfortunately. And those VDVs are getting taken out very quickly now. And Pagodas are the only things left in Foxtrot here, and I feel bad for these guys. Look at this. Just don't know what to do. You guys are screwed. Command has no idea what to tell these guys. Reinforcements are on their way, just to give them some hope, but they're not. And now Foxtrot has been completely taken over by the Blue 4 team, although that CV is still all the way over there. And we have the Jaegers. The Jaegers moving close to that CV. CV is being moved because they know that they are close. Neutralizing Golf just for a moment there. And Echo still neutralized the Rover and the CV over there. Neutralizing Echo, so +0 for both players. And Mi-24 launching from downtown here. Takes out a couple troop carriers. Gonna move a little bit closer. Doesn't have any more Cyclos missiles though, so it's gonna have to move really close to use those cluster rockets or that 30 mil. And by then, Automatic now firing at it, and the Mi-24 has no chance. Automatic, such a good anti-air unit. And here goes the Jaegers, and battling out with VDV now. VDV are out in the open and did get stunned for a moment there. And now back at Foxtrot here. Leopard's moving in, and looks like they're looking for that CV. Not gonna find it though. And when he realizes that he doesn't find it over here on this particular Isle of Foxtrot, he's going to know that it's over here somewhere. Automatic was taken out, so now the air power here it can dominate Foxtrot. But it doesn't look like he has too much air power left. Probably most of his air power is in the garage, if you will, the hangar, and being repaired and rearmed. Fennec 20 mil flying overhead and gonna spot this CV group. And uh-oh, here we go. And Fennec actually doesn't spot it right away, but unfortunately our winner is ML Alexander. A pretty quick end there, and a very, very good game indeed. It was a quick game, but a good game. That's definitely how you win that map. Put some units behind your opponent and push forward and take out their CVs, force them to move. Artillery their CVs. Really don't try to push forward much really at all unless you have completely overwhelming numbers of forces there to push into Foxtrot. Either that or use smoke. I always like to use smoke. It's always a really good idea. But I hope you guys enjoyed this replay, and I'll see you guys next time.